What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing good. I'm Anthony K. Thomas, and welcome to Wrestling with Rumors. Welcome, everyone. After taking a very small hiatus, a week off for everything that was SummerSlam last week, Wrestling Rumors is back for a whole new episode. And like I say every episode for Wrestling with Rumors, every rumor that I am about to read is exactly what it is. It is, excuse me, it is a rumor. We can speculate as wildly as we want, but until that rumor is proven fact, true by the company, promotion, or person the rumor is about, they remain what they are, rumors, which we can speculate as wildly as we want. So with that, let's get into everything that is wrestling with rumors. Dave Meltzer said he believes the reason WWE didn't announce attendance numbers for SummerSlam on either night is that they didn't get the turnout they hoped for, and AEW will beat it with All In. This one, I don't need to add anything to this. This one kind of speaks for itself right there. Whether or not you believe that AEW attendance numbers will absolutely beat the numbers for SummerSlam. Um, I think it's fair to say. I mean, yeah, I think it's fair to say. I think you would because AEW All In is really AEW's WrestleMania. So you would have to look at WrestleMania numbers versus um, AEW numbers. But who cares? Honestly, who really cares about the attendance numbers? I mean, I know they care because at the end of the day, it's all about that. It's all about that capital MONEY. Um, but everyone that showed up and showed out, had a great time. SummerSlam was a great time. And AEW at Wembley Stadium will be a great time as well at the end of the month. Anyway, Max Caster's contract with AEW is coming up later this year per Fightful Select. There's no word on if the company wants to keep him or not. This one I'm going to throw to all of you. Leave in the comments whether you think Matt Caster's contract will be renewed with AEW, or after his contract is up, he's done in AEW and maybe he runs the independent circuit for a while, or maybe he's just done with wrestling altogether. Um, Let me know in the comments. Selfmade Pro claims there were some in WWE who haven't been impressed with what they've seen from Sol Ruca since her call up. I think that's very unfair because I feel like with debuts with call ups from NXT, I feel that you have to at least give them a year to get settled into it, um, and really find their really find their feet, and really find how they're going. And also, it's on creative. You also got to put a little on creative too about what they're going to do with that particular character who's been called up from NXT, and how they continue that person's run from NXT onto the main roster. And then you also add the person who's been called up, what they're able to bring and show when they are given something, and also the fan reaction to it as well. It's all kind of mixed together. But Sol Ruca got thrown into the mix. Really got thrown into it. She had a great showing last year at the end of the year in December against Bayley. That was a great showing for her there, and it kind of then that she had a great showing at the Royal Rumble, and then she's on the main roster now. She goes into a program with Becky Lynch that leads into her winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and then really nothing after that. She didn't really defend it as much as she should have. Kind of like Liv Morgan. Like Liv Morgan as women's world champion, SummerSlam shouldn't have been the first time she defended that women's world title. She should have had multiple women title matches since WrestleMania up to SummerSlam, but that didn't happen. It's the same thing with Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca should have had a lot more title defenses. She had more title defenses than Liv Morgan, absolutely. But Sol Ruca should have had multiple women um, challenging her for that title. She should have had a few storylines. She should have been in a couple of PLEs leading up to SummerSlam instead of that. The way it kind of went down for Sol Ruca is she lost the Women's Intercontinental Championship to Raquel Rodriguez, who I am very glad that Raquel Rodriguez finally has got that first singles title win in the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Absolutely, I'm happy about that. But there should have been a lot more for Sol Ruca. So for them to say they're not impressed, they have to turn that on them a little bit as well and say they're not impressed with themselves. But I believe that everything is fine for Sol Ruca, that it's all going to work out for Sol Ruca, and she's going to be a main event player, a bigger star down the road. It just takes time to get there. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time for others than it does for some. And I think Sol Ruca is one of those that it just takes a little bit more time, but she will have those big moments in her future. It's only just the beginning for Sol Ruca. So I'm not worried. According to PW Insider, Big Cass was in great spirits backstage at Raw and generally incredibly excited to be back in WWE. It was a good start for Big Cass, coming in, taking out Javon Evans, making stating his reason for what he's back, what he intends to do. I love seeing it. I love the hunger. I love the intensity, and let's see where things go moving forward from here for him. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to see what comes from it for him. From PW Insider, top Triple H Lieutenant Patrick Dooley quietly departed WWE in July, around around the time others were let go due to budget cuts. Dooley was was decided as was was described as Paul Levesque's number two on all matters outside of creative. Dooley had been with WWE since 2018. His most recent job title was Senior VP of Global Strategy and Creative Operations. Um, Nothing need to add. This one really speaks for itself. We're going to move on to the next one. Even though Brock Lesnar officially announced his retirement this week on the Pat McAfee show, WrestleVotes Radio says there are high-ranking officials in WWE who think there will be plans for the Beast at WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia next year. If there are any plans for him, for Brock Lesnar, involving around WrestleMania 43, I think it's Hall of Fame. I think next year when he will get inducted into the Hall of Fame, he'll be the headliner for that Hall of Fame. You got Paul Heyman absolutely will induct Brock Lesnar into the Hall of Fame. So if anything involves Brock Lesnar with WrestleMania 43, it is absolutely the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. WrestleVotes mentioned that WWE had serious discussions about going with a two-night format for the 2027 Royal Rumble event in Phoenix. The current belief is that it will remain a one-night event, but this might be the final year that's the case. So there has been a lot of talk about for at least making all the top four PLEs out of all the PLEs, um, two-night events. So like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania is already a two-night event. SummerSlam is already a two-night event. Making SummerSlam a two-night event. Pardon me, making Survivor Series a two-night event. So that would mean like for Royal Rumble and Survivor Series, you would have a Royal Rumble match each night, and then you would have a War Games match each night. Uh, that's the belief in that. I like that WrestleMania is a two-night because stack it up. It gives you opportunity to stack it up with more matches. Um, yeah, and I get they're doing the same thing for SummerSlam, but also I also kind of miss just having the one night where you just stack everything up on one night, let it play out for like a good 4 to 5 hours, like those rare 4 to 5 hour pay-per-views that we used to have, like when it was a WrestleMania or when it was a SummerSlam or in the occasional Royal Rumble or Survivor Series. So, but I feel that with TKO and what they are doing, I think that eventually it's going to be those top four, those big four PLEs will all be 2 night events at some point. Per Fightful Select, a source with direct knowledge says SummerSlam 2029 will take place in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is likely part of WWE's deal to bring Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania PLEs to Lucas Oil Stadium. Excuse me. Okay. Really nothing to add to that. That'll be fun. It'll be fun. That's all I'll say. According to WrestleVotes, it's still unclear that Enzo Amore's status with WWE is at this time. There was interest in both of them, at least internally, but it's unclear if Amore is still on WWE's radar now that Big Cass has debuted as a solo act. So the first vignette that we got, I can on it. The first vignette that we got of Big Cass was also of Enzo Amore with what they did, all of it, SAWFT, soft, that whole thing. So that first vignette we saw, we all assumed that that's what we were getting. We were getting both Big Cass and Enzo Amore back in WWE. We thought they were bringing them back. As the vignettes went on, and they just slowly started to focus on Big Cass. It started to become apparent that it wasn't Enzo Amore they were bringing back, that it was just Big Cass that they were bringing back. It's still a question whether or not Enzo will come back, but time will tell on that. For now, I think it's just Big Cass that they wanted. That seems that they just wanted to bring back into the fold of WWE. But we'll see how the next couple weeks, months, and this rest of this year turn out as far as whether or not they bring him back. Zilla Fatu has departed House of Glory, leading the speculation he's coming into WWE sooner rather than later. Between him visiting the Performance Center and talks that he's had, from what we understand, with WWE, I think him now departing House of Glory, he has finished up his commitments with House of Glory. I think we are going to see him in WWE, and it's a question. And I would question we would see him in NXT, but I don't think we're going to see him in NXT. I think when they bring him in, he's coming right into the fold of the main roster of WWE, and it's really going to be a question of what side he's going to be on in this war that is eventually going to lead into War Games. That I believe, whether he's going to be on Solo Sikoa's side or he's going to be on the Bloodline side. That has my that I'm interested in. I really feel like I I feel like that it might be on the Bloodline side, but just speculating on it, we will see because they can use this as he has someone been watching from the outside and seeing how things have been going between family and leave it to him to what side he is choosing. So maybe in the next couple of months we might see him pop up on either Raw or SmackDown. I won't completely throw out that we might see him debut on NXT. It is possible that they want to get him on NXT for a couple of months before throwing him into the fold of the main roster. So I won't completely ignore that idea. But I am very excited about the possibility of Zilla Fatu coming to WWE and what the potential of it could mean once he debuts, and I'm excited for that. And yeah. So moving forward onto a few things that I wanted to touch on. So this first one that I want to touch on really comes from a question that a friend of mine that I talk to every once in a while. She asked me this question about why PLEs are starting earlier. And it was really more of a question of why SummerSlam started so early, but it really bringing into a broader question of why PLEs are starting a lot earlier. Just to read, just to get this right, just to read exactly what it says here. So PLEs start at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which is 4 Pacific time over here on the West Coast, rather than the traditional 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. primarily to improve live fan experience and better accommodate their massive international audience. Starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, allows the massive 4 to 5 hour stadium events to conclude by roughly 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern time, which is about 7, which is somewhere between, which is about, which is around 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's early. It's earlier. This earlier finish time is highly beneficial for the live audience as it helps prevent travel and public transit exhaustion and aligns with WWE strategy to keep event cards tight and impactful. Additionally, it allows international fans, particularly those in Europe, to watch marquee multi-night spectacles without having to stay awake until 3 or 4 a.m. local time. So that is why they start PLEs a lot earlier, is for that reason. Is for that reason. And I hope that answers some questions that people might have had about why PLEs are starting, why WWE PLEs start early. Uh, Now, to touch on really quick about SummerSlam. So, SummerSlam from start to finish, day one, day two was incredible. There was a lot of great moments. The Kevin Owens returning at SummerSlam was incredible. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar in Hell in a Cell was incredible. It's a great way for Brock Lesnar to finish his in-ring career with WWE. It was a great way to pass the torch and to see Brock Lesnar in a light we usually never see him in, being open with the crowd, talking to the crowd, being appreciative to the crowd, thanking the crowd, telling the crowd and telling the crowd that Obafemi is the future and that he is the past, and passing that torch, showing that respect to Obafemi. It was an incredible moment to have Kevin Owens not only return but get that number one contendership for the WWE Championship against CM Punk. Um, to have that match between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, and to have Randy Orton come back, and that leading to where things ended between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and continue where they left off in that. Nick Aldis having his debut WWE match at SummerSlam against Gunther, and showing that he never lost it, that he still got it, that he still got gas in the tank, and showing and giving a lot of people who might never have seen a Nick Aldis match before, given that first Nick Aldis match, and hopefully send people to YouTube and watch his past matches that he's had with people like Cody Rhodes and others in TNA, in NWA, and on the independent circuit. SummerSlam was a great time. Honestly, I feel that SummerSlam was better than WrestleMania, honestly. WrestleMania night 2 was a good night. But overall, SummerSlam as a whole was a lot better than WrestleMania as a whole. I think that's fair to say. Now, SummerSlam is really our last PLE for a while. There is no PLE in September. We do have a special event in September, and that normally we would call Saturday night's main event, but they moved it from Saturday to Sunday. Now they moved this. They have a Saturday night's main event because originally Money in the Bank was going to be in September, but then they had to move it again from September to October. So we have Sunday night's main event that's happening on September 6th, which will be during a Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. Saturday, October 10th. That is when we will have Money in the Bank. It will be in New Orleans, which is where this past WrestleMania was supposed to be at. So, and so instead of New Orleans getting WrestleMania, they get Money in the Bank. They still get a PLE, but it's not the PLE they were expecting to get. they were expecting to get. But nonetheless, we're getting a PLE in New Orleans, Money in the Bank. So no PLE until October. So there's a lot of things that's going to happen as we're building towards Sunday night's main event and Money in the Bank in October. And then, as part of TKO's partnership with Arizona Sports and Events Alliance, the 40th Royal Rumble, I know, 40 years of the Royal Rumble, will take place at State Farm Stadium in Arizona on February in 2027, next year. I am really starting to quickly miss the days when the Royal Rumble was in January. You start the year off with the Royal Rumble. But no, so when you really look at when the last PLE is to when the next PLE is, the last PLE is in November, and that is Survivor Series. And then November, December, January, February. So then we got to wait. So then 3 months later, it's the first PLE of the year in February, Royal Rumble. So, but 40 years of the Royal Rumble is incredible. Lastly, one last thing that I just want to touch on is Brock Lesnar. NCAA Division I Heavyweight National Champion, 10-time WWE World Champion, Money in the Bank winner, UFC Heavyweight Champion, IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Yes, there was a brief moment when Brock Lesnar went to New Japan and won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. It was a brief moment, but it counts. Facing guys like having rivalries with the likes of John Cena, Undertaker, Triple H, The Rock, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Oba Femi, just to name a few. There is so much that Brock Lesnar has done inside the squared circle, entertaining us, making us hate him. But all of that, there is never going to be another Brock Lesnar, and nor there shouldn't be. He is a one of one. And all I want to say in giving Brock Lesnar his flowers is just saying thank you for everything he has done inside the squared circle. And yes, thank you, Brock Lesnar. And that'll do it for this week's episode of Wrestling with Rumors. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all new episodes of Wrestling with Rumors, Rumor of the Day, and everything else that drops on this Wrestling with Rumors channel drops. And go ahead and hit a thumbs up, leave a comment, all of that stuff. I appreciate all of that, the views and all of that. Appreciate all of you. But until then, hope all you have a good, fun, and safe week. Don't forget to take care of yourselves. And I will definitely see all of you on that next one. Until then, peace, y'all.